Hey, hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of 23-year-old Hamzah Alsharief, who disappeared in Saskatoon on December 15, 2011. He was studying chemical engineering at the Saskatoon University, and he was doing his third semester final exams. He was originally from Saudi Arabia, and he had come to Canada to study. The initial search by the Canadian Federal Police and the Civil Defense turned up no results. Though according to a spokesman of the Saudi Embassy in Ottawa, many bodies were found during the search, but Alsharief was not among them. Zaid Al-Harbi, a director of the embassy's Department of Information, said that during the search, detectives found a jacket that was believed to belong to the missing man, and that was later confirmed. Al-Harbi said that the embassy had hired a private detective and also contracted a specialized U.S. company to look for him. They used boats, helicopters, and other means to comb the area, but still there was no trace of Hamzah. The spokesperson said that what made Hamzah's disappearance even more mysterious was that all of his personal belongings, including his passport, purse, and mobile phone, were found intact in his apartment. No money had been withdrawn from his bank account since he disappeared, he added. They also said that the last phone call made by him before his disappearance was to his sister Layla, who was studying in another state in Canada. Then in May of 2012, it was reported that a coat was found that they believed belonged to the Saudi student. They found it hanging from a tree near the banks of the river used by the students for power walking, and they contacted his sister Leah while forensics were being carried out to determine the DNA on the jacket. Leah stated, "I received a phone call from Saskatoon police, and the investigators told me they found a winter jacket believed to belong to my brother. However, I have not yet seen the jacket to confirm whether it was Hamzah's or not." Meanwhile, the frozen river had thawed, and a team of divers dived 3 consecutive days in search for the body without any luck. And despite TV advertisements and posters of the missing student evident all over the state in hopes that somebody would come forward, with news pointing towards Hamzah's discovery, Hamzah was actually never seen or heard from again. And that is all the information I have on this case, and I was asked to do a tarot reading on him. We're going to do that, starting off with the vice versa deck, which is already on the table. And for any further questions, moving on to the tarot of the new vision, which is this one. So as per usual, I'm going to start shuffling the deck. As soon as I have about a table full of cards, we're going to stop and take a look. So without much further ado, let's get started. Okay, so that was a quick shuffle. We're starting off over here in the top left with the Chariot in reverse and backwards, followed by the World upright and facing forward as well. The Chariot seems to just be charging off into some adventure that may not be very well thought out. And also the World, if you look at the card, they appear like they're really enjoying freedom. They're just out in the sun, and maybe they went outside because they needed a break and they were like, oh, it's been such a nice day out here. Maybe he was enjoying the cold, crisp air or whatever, just enjoying the walk. Perhaps not very carefully as well, because the path that the Chariot is riding on is falling apart behind him. So maybe they are just kind of like out there doing things, but they're not very careful about where they're going, etc. And now we have the Page of Wands in reverse, followed by the 3 of Wands also in reverse, and then Strength in reverse. I'm going to grab these 2 first because I think Strength is more of the result of what comes after these 2. So we start off with the Chariot in reverse, like I said, and the World upright. They appear to be having a good time. They just want to have fun. They're out there enjoying the nature, the day. Then we see here the Page of Wands in reverse. And the Page of Wands, as you can see, is a fairly young person. They may feel like they can do anything they want, anything they set their mind to. They have that bit of youthful energy, the youthful arrogance that nothing will happen to them because that's just unimaginable. But it's in reverse, so they may be doing some bad things that perhaps they shouldn't be doing. Next to that, we have the Three of Wands also in reverse, and one of the wands even looks as though there is some magic involved. Even the person's holding something, some type of energy ball, whatever it is, we can't really see. But they appear to feel like they are in control of everything that they're doing. But the Three of Wands is also making plans to go places, and I also see that as, okay, can't really go very far from here because this person is in the middle of a desert. So they may still have that youthful arrogance going on, but they also realize that maybe now they're in trouble, because the next card that we have over here is Strength in reverse. So I'm thinking that he wandered into something with his youthful exuberance, I guess we'll call that, and then he got stuck on something, went somewhere where he shouldn't have gone, somewhere where perhaps he did not see an immediate way out. And like I said, Strength in reverse is right here, so maybe they also very quickly lost the strength to keep moving, maybe also started to panic a little bit. And while they were panicking though, or in this state, they did try to do everything that they could think of. So they were being very smart about whatever it is that was going on over there. Like, say, for instance, if they decided that perhaps they could walk across the river while it was frozen or something, and then it turns out that this is actually not the case, then perhaps now with the Eight of Pentacles, we're also seeing that though they are losing their strength a bit, they're pulling all of their knowledge to the forefront to try and get out of there. They may be trying to stay calm, they may be trying to, if they were in the water, trying to stay warm somehow, or trying to find a way back out with as little trouble as possible. But we are concerned quite a bit over here with the Nine of Swords. I'm also getting a bit of a vibe that they possibly thought that they were in some type of nightmare over here, because this person is sitting on the edge of a bed. There are a bunch of swords blocking the view of this window, which may represent freedom or the outside world that is not available right now. And there's also this very shadowy figure in the corner over there. You don't really see him very clearly at first, but when you see him, you can't unsee him. So he's right there. Maybe somebody is involved here, or perhaps they're thinking other people cannot reach them. But that same person also seems to be over here in the Seven of Cups card. So they are literally in the water this time. And the way that their eyes are white like that, and he doesn't seem to be seeing what he's actually looking at. This seems like blind panic to me. So he's wishing for all sorts of things to be true, but finding out that actually none of these things are true, like grasping at straws. And if you turn the card around as well, they are looking at something that's clearly not there. So maybe they're having some illusions at this point, like they may be so panicked and in such a bad way, such a bad state, that they don't even really see things clearly. Even though there is like a fortress in the background over there, nobody there is going to be able to get to them on time. Like, that's the vibe I'm getting from this card. Then we have a moment of self-blame, possibly, over here with the Seven of Pentacles, just looking at the fruits of his labor, like this is what happens when you do something. So I do feel like this is also showing that he wandered into something that he could have easily have avoided if he had just thought a bit more about what he was doing, if he had a little bit less of this, I'm just going to see what I can do energy, and just kind of thought about things. So this is, I think, him lamenting the fact that he made the decisions that he did, and also kind of looking at this Two of Swords, that they realize that there aren't really many choices that they have right now. They don't even need to consider anything. Like, this is it. We're on a rock in the middle of the ocean. I can choose to, I don't know, be happy about it, be sad about it, but it's going to be the same outcome all the same, like that type of vibe over here. Alone with the moon in the background as the only company. Then we have over here the Death card in reverse, and also the back side. Like, I feel like this definitely led to his demise, whatever he did. And I really do feel like the water had something to do with it. He may have gone into the water. Maybe that's also why the coat was put on a branch nearby to keep it safe. Perhaps he was thinking it was just quickly going for the water's edge, and he didn't want his coat to get wet, or whatever it was, thinking that he was going to come back to get it soon. And then, of course, something happened that made that impossible. But either way, death is here. It's in reverse, though. And I'm wondering if that means that he was trying to keep things at bay for as long as possible. Then we have the Empress, who is facing away. And over here, next to that, we have the Nine of Pentacles on its side. It could have easily have continued to slide and be in reverse. But this kind of reminds me of feeling abandoned by somebody who should have been caring for you. Maybe also, since this is a very lush card and the skull over there is kind of hidden in the background, there may have been some thoughts here about my mother's probably doing fine right now. She has no idea what's happening. I wish that I could contact her with the bird over there. There's a little birdie over here that could have maybe brought a message, or maybe that bird. Like maybe there is a certain sense of if only somebody were to catch some type of instinctive message and find me here, maybe they could help me or something, or maybe his mother could receive some message as well and wonder what's going on with him and somehow come to the rescue. I don't know exactly, but that's kind of like the vibe I'm getting from this card. I'm getting a lot of vibes today. I don't want to overuse the word, but anyway, so that's what the impression that I'm getting over here. Followed by the Nine of Pentacles on its side. Maybe there is a fleeting moment of feeling okay, but of course still realizing what situation that you're in. It reminds me of people who tend to be in very cold environments, like on the side of a snowy mountain, or indeed in very cold water, that after a while you get this paradoxical heating effect, I think it's called, that you feel warm even though you're actually freezing, like that. Like there may be a bit of that going on, like, oh, actually this isn't too bad, but part of him still realizing that he's actually in a lot of trouble, even though his body is kind of betraying his senses in that sense, making him feel like he's actually okay. I'm gonna grab a few more cards from the vice versa deck here, because I think that we are pretty much at the end of what actually happened to him, and then I want to move on to will we find out more. But I feel like I need to draw a few more cards of the situation itself before we can move on to the next thing. It's that one. All right, we've got some crying over spilled milk in the background with a flower as well. All right, these guys. Okay, we have the Five of Cups in reverse, and we're looking at the back. There is a rose there, maybe also a final greeting as well. Just kind of looking into this desolate wasteland in the background, like they feel like they have to go there, they don't want to. They're leaving behind a rose, maybe, like I said, as a final greeting, but the wheel is here and things are changing. So perhaps the time for realizing what's actually happening is here. Like, I believe these are representing Greek gods, even though they're supposed to be representing like the directions of the wind. But this is a very Greek gods. Did I say Greek? I mean Egyptian. This is very Egyptian-like headdress. I believe this is Bastet, which is also a Egyptian god. I'm not sure if there was one with the head of a snake. I'm pretty sure there was. I don't know what their name was, but there is a big vibe of Egyptian background here. So something is coming to claim them. Also next to this card, which in the background has the pyramid. So I'm guessing that there is almost like a meeting of the gods here that he may be imagining, maybe actually having. I don't know. There is a quick message here, maybe a final message as well. Maybe he managed to somehow connect with somebody. And then I'm talking about more of a spiritual sense. Interesting that we also now have over here the magician, who also has a shooting star. So somebody may have actually gotten some type of intuitive message or inkling that something was very wrong with Hamzah, and maybe that is what these cards are representing somehow. They managed to connect to somebody real quick. So maybe somebody got some type of quick vision or a knowing or something, like a ping almost from somebody. Like sometimes you think of somebody and then suddenly the phone rings and there they are. Like that type of message may have been received by somebody who afterwards probably didn't know that that's what it was. But I feel like they at the very least tried to connect in some way, and they may have actually gotten through. But that was probably at the very end of his story, where maybe all he could do was try to connect because his physical situation was very dire. Now, like I said, I think that is the end of his actual life that we are seeing here. But are we going to find out more about what actually happened? Are we going to find some remains of his? Let's go to the Tarot of the New Vision for that. We got 2 cards here. 6 of Swords, Queen of Pentacles. Okay, 6 of Swords. Somebody basically being led by somebody else. Maybe investigators are being led by others, other organizations, other people. People coming in with thoughts and opinions that are just kind of like telling them to go here or go there. And there, at the same time, is also a Queen of Pentacles involved who is in reverse. Maybe they cannot spend their resources in the way that would help with this case, or they're only really getting money from certain people who want them to do a certain thing, like they can't really come up with their own plan for investigations. Well, everything has to be approved by this person who is in the lead through this 6 of Swords, perhaps. Okay, we've got the Sun in reverse. All right, so that means there isn't going to be much light shed in this case anytime soon, at least not as long as this situation persists. All right, that one. Kind of want to put you back. There you go. 3 of Cups in reverse. All right, so this cooperation with whoever these people are may not go well, may not have been going well for some time, actually maybe holding things back, basically causing disharmony, things not buttering between them. It's more of a Dutch expression, buttering between people, but it's not really a well-oiled machine with this cooperation going on. High Priestess, we're looking at some knowledge here that perhaps they are ignoring, something that is available but perhaps ignored because certain people do not want to touch it. So there may be something that they could still look into, but something that the people that are funding the operation, so to speak, are not interested in. They do not want that avenue explored. So it may be something that would be embarrassing, or something that would be, according to them, too far out of their character, out of Hamzah's character, to do certain things. Like, they just don't want the investigators to look at all possible avenues because some of the avenues might be embarrassing. The Hermit is in reverse, so we cannot spend a lot of time thinking about these things. Perhaps we are continuously being pushed to do what the others want them to do. There is a snake slithering up to their feet, though, so maybe this will eventually come to bite them in their behind. Well, obviously they don't have the results that they want, so that's actually already happened. But it might actually become worse at some points. Okay. We have the Knight of Swords. All right, things are being burnt down in the background and we are charging ahead. So there may be actually some type of confrontation going on. Maybe the people that are supposed to be investigating will fight against the people that are telling them what to do. Like, they may have a big falling out and there'll be things said like, well, you're not the investigator. If we say we need to look into this, then we need to look into this, and you need to be quiet, and you know, that type of thing. Like, we appreciate your support, but let us do our job, like that type of thing. And they may after that also just charge off. They may say a little too much. Who knows what's going on there exactly, but it looks like a confrontation to me after that snake finally has its way over there with the Hermits. Nine of Wands. Yeah, people are tired of fighting off this intrusion, I would say. The bear is coming and they're just too tired to fight it. They may also be tired of having only one stick to use in this case because they have 8 more right behind them, but they can't touch them. So maybe they're just like saying, let us do our thing. We have all these different avenues that we'd like to look into, and just let us do those things, because with just the one thing, we're not getting anywhere. You've seen that now. It's been years. You don't have any results. Let us try, like that. Then we have the Ten of Cups. Okay, that is very hopeful, very promising. So maybe once they do have this confrontation, the people that were previously putting them, or at least giving them some limits, will say, okay, fine, if you think that that's going to help, right, fine, we'll excuse it. Go ahead, do your thing, and we'll see what happens. Like after the fight, all the stuff has been thrown out onto the table, everything is now out in the open, and now they can finally come together and maybe come to some type of conclusion or some type of harmony between them. And it looks as though that is going quite well. So maybe that argument that they had was necessary. Now will we get some results? Oops, okay. Ace of Wands in reverse. Maybe we're still doing the wrong thing, but we see that this is perhaps also because this is the result of what they've been doing all this time with the Seven of Pentacles, seeing things ripening on the vine. And we have a ghost over there flying overhead. It's very interesting that perhaps they almost feel like the things that they are now harvesting, they're not going to help, actually, at least not as much as they would like. And they're almost like apologizing to Hamzah, perhaps also other people who have similar cases going on, that they don't have a better harvest. Though it's not a bad harvest, as you can say. The card is not super gloomy. There's just like this spirit flying overhead. And I'm thinking that they were perhaps expecting a bigger harvest, but you got what you got, and maybe you can make some plans with that. Although over here we have the Three of Wands in reverse and the Page of Pentacles also in reverse. So maybe they will not spend these resources very wisely, and they don't really know where to start, even though there's quite a lot riding on it, because you can see there's a whole caravan in the background over there waiting for them to make a call. And they're having trouble. They're just kind of at a standstill, I feel like. They don't really know exactly now what to do. And they also don't really know exactly where the money is supposed to go. So there is some hesitation there. Let's draw one more card. Or perhaps two. I think this is two cards. We have the Star in reverse. And we have the Wheel. Okay, but the Wheel is upright. All right, so even though the Star is in reverse, I tend to see that as somebody who is disappearing from the worldview. It is also something attention-seeking, so I'm thinking this may actually be them putting some more feelers out there, maybe printing new flyers, or putting another article in the paper, or getting another appearance on a TV show, or whatever it is. There is more attention being brought to this case, and then we see the wheel is turning. So perhaps now we have a better chance of getting some more information about Hamzah's disappearance, because the wheel is once again set in motion after this stalemate that we had here at the top. So that is at least somewhat hopeful. So once they do actually manage to get their own investigation going like the way they want it to, it may not initially see a lot of success, but there is some hope there on the end. So that is what I'm seeing for Hamzah Alsharief. I hope you found that interesting. Make sure to leave a like, a comment, a dislike, whichever you like. If you want to subscribe, that's even more appreciated. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.